All right, welcome to the Problem Solver Politics live stream. Let's get started. What a week in politics and with Andrew Yang. Cody, tell us what's going on.
Of course, the biggest news going on has been the debates, and like I said, I kind of put a title as Andrew Yang versus MSNBC because it seems to be a ongoing. Like if we think Tulsi and Hillary have beef, Andrew Yang and MSNBC have some serious beef, man. So I thought it'd be fun to talk a little bit more about that because we talked about that obviously a lot in our video today, but that also there is a second. I think actually the first conservative running on UBI in 2020 has thrown his hat into the ring. I figure we talk about that as well. So those are two big things going on right now. I'm trying to get the link pulled up. Actually, you know what? We've been talking a lot about the Yang. We'll wrap up with some Yang stuff. I want to talk about this individual. My new man, Zoltan Istvan.
Dude, if that doesn't sound, if transhumanist and the name Zoltan don't sound like they dropped out of a straight Edgar Rice Burroughs novel in the 1930s scientific realm, I don't know who does. Either that or else he is the missing brother of Xenu in Scientology.
Yeah, so actually Zoltan is from a Dude, Where's My Car? But
oh, it is?
Yeah, Zoltan.
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't seen Dude, Where's My Car? I know. I didn't experience the early 2000s well enough, apparently. So,
I never saw it either.
Oh, you didn't?
Movie night.
God, these people. You guys see what I have to deal with? These people,
These
man.
Philistines.
Exactly.
That's
exactly the word I was looking for is Philistines. Anyway, speaking of Philistines, I wonder, or I guess speaking of plebeians, I wonder what Zoltan calls people. So let's get into this. So anyway, Zoltan, this is a media article. It says, meet the microchipped transhumanist cyborg who's running against Trump in the 2020 GOP primary.
Dude, I want to talk to this guy.
So Zoltan Istvan is a transhumanist journalist, and he's running for the U.S. presidency. He's a Republican in 2020, challenging Donald Trump in the primary. Good for him. Istvan, who also ran for president in 2016 on a lesser scale, has written for the New York Times, Vice, and National Geographic, and he describes himself as the founder of the Transhumanist Party. Uh-oh, here we go. The original author of the Transhumanist Bill of Rights and a frequently interviewed expert on AI, genetic editing, tech policy, and futurism. Holy cow, everything in that sentence terrifies me to no end. His campaign policies
but I think it's cool.
Oh, dude. Anyway, his campaign policy for 2020 ranged from the relatively normal to the quite absurd. From ending the drug war, beating China in artificial intelligence race, I'm down with that, restoring the environment and providing universal basic income for all, to the development of artificial wombs, nearly open borders. What is nearly open borders in quotes? Stopping mass shootings and terrorism with robots, drones, AI scanners, and other technology. Oh my God. And licensing parents, or as Istvan explained, requiring prospective parents to pass a series of basic tests similar to a DMV. Oh my
dude, a licensed parent. I did my eighth grade. It wasn't history. It wasn't civics. I can't remember the name of the class, but I did my 8th grade government. It was 8th grade government report on a licensed parent. I'm down with this guy.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
When they have those what's the word I'm looking for? Dystopian sci-fi future, like cyberpunk dystopia.
Like written by a guy named Zoltan?
No, like the cyberpunk dystopia is literally this. The one world, so nearly open borders, one world economy, one world government. Stopping mass shootings, so we're going to be policed by drones, robots, and AI scanners. So there's going to be things that are scanning your faces. For AI will be like, oh my God, his face is way too tense. That guy's up to something. And drones will surround you. That's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, I love the idea. Where was the one? No, artificial wombs. Love that. So I think he's a transhumanist, man. He literally wants the human robot cyborg overlords. Maybe he's got a good pitch. Maybe he can change my mind and convince me it's right. I'm not saying he's necessarily wrong. It does terrify me. I mean, oh my God, dude. Again, I want to hear more from the guy. I don't understand holding both policies of wanting artificial wombs and licensing for parents. You want less? Because, again, this sounds like more anti-human propaganda
how do you license?
to me.
How do you license an artificial womb?
You wouldn't have to. But my point being, so there would be this.
You could adopt, I guess.
Well, no. Is he creating a system where it's in order for two humans to actually create a human child, you have to go through bureaucratic red tape. But if you want to create some weird cyborg,
it could be a private license, like a scuba diving license. issued by a private party that has its own requirements.
I'm sure that's how they do it. That sounds exactly how they would do it if you ask me. So as a passionate transhumanist, reportedly with a microchip in his hand that allows him to open doors and use his iPhone, Istvan also wants the Republican Party to reclaim transhumanism from the far. We are reclaiming transhumanism now, boys. I hope you guys are ready to reclaim transhumanism for the right. How the hell is he passed this? Dude, I have no idea what like literal like AI drone powered. I guess AI drone powered. Okay, I know I'm repeating myself, but drone powered AI police state does sound. I don't know. I guess no one gets to own that. Both the right and the left could have that, for all I know. But yeah, this guy does not sound like a Republican. The funniest thing to me is he's trying to primary Trump. What Trump voter is going to like listen to this stuff and be like, nearly open borders. Robot AI police. Okay. Yeah, I used to vote for Donald Trump, but then somebody came to me and said, "Hey, I think that we should have a robot wombs and fake womb." I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? Maybe." Like the fact that somebody thinks he could get the Republican Party to reclaim transhumanism is very. Again, I don't know if I agree with the word. I'd love to hear more from the guy.
I don't know if I agree with the word reclaim. I think the Republican Party can reclaim the term UBI, Universal Basic Income. I think we can reclaim the negative income tax. I think we can reclaim a lot. We are the party of abolition. You know what I'm saying? We can reclaim all kinds of stuff, but nobody can reclaim a phrase I didn't know existed until today.
Have you ever heard transhumanism before?
Well, I know that like Elon Musk, for example, was talking about the necessity for humans to be enhanced and augmented. And I have heard of transhumanism.
You never ever heard of like
I'll tell you this right now. I had never heard of transhumanism in an unironic way that was not in passing, where there was actually a real physical adult attached to the movement.
You got to watch more movies, play more video games, man.
I definitely agree that I have not played as many video games as you. I think I've seen plenty of movies.
I'm just saying some of the best dives into transhumanism going back 15, 20 years ago with video games. Deus Ex, very good look at this, maybe from like the late 90s.
Uh-huh.
Again, you uncultured swine, man. You haven't seen Dude, Where's My Car? You haven't played Deus Ex. Who is this guy, man?
Hey, wait, am I the only one that thinks artificial wombs would be kind of cool?
Only one here, I hope.
I'm kind of down for it. I mean,
that literally sounds like anti-humanism to me.
I don't know.
I don't know. Giving birth sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would argue that's the farthest negative end of transhumanism is when human beings basically like, oh, we're leaving all of our burdens on machines, and we actually just give our humanity to machines.
Wait, but hold on a second.
That sounds awful.
What if you could spare a woman the burden? Especially because, like, for example, my mother couldn't have
Aren't
more
you religious?
than a second.
What right have you to make that decision?
Hold on. No. Look. No. This is, religious does not mean crazy or irrational. What if you could spare a woman that who was prohibited from having children? Like my mother couldn't have children after her second child. The doctor was actually like, look, your body's developing antibodies to this. Like I counsel you not to have more children. Right. And my mom always wished she could have had more children. Okay. You know, she wasn't walking around like, oh, woe is me, you know, but she definitely did say, if I had a choice, I would have opted to have more children. Right. So, dude, if there's an artificial womb that works, that produces completely healthy, sane. I mean, imagine how many meth babies we would not have. You know what I'm saying? How you wouldn't have fetal alcohol syndrome.
You're advocating against humanity. I don't understand this.
It's not against humanity.
Yes.
Okay, I don't really know how artificial wombs work. Not a pro on this. But you take the sperm and the egg, mix it, and put it into the womb, right?
It's like an incubator, right?
Yeah, right?
Again,
Cody?
I'm not even necessarily religious, but this flagrant notion of just playing God, like it's just it's our right. It's our right as human beings to just play God as we choose. It's like, I don't know, man. Remember Jurassic Park, what they were talking about in that movie? 20 years ago? Like I don't understand this notion.
No, but that's creating an extinct species. Well, actually, God had already created it, so I'd actually be fine with the dinosaurs. But
and then he killed him off, and we brought him back against his wishes.
Yeah. Well, but hold on a second. Are braces playing God? God gave that man crooked teeth.
No, they're not.
And we wrench those braces with these metal wires into this straight aesthetic line.
I'm sorry.
Braces are playing God because you are messing with the body the way God created
I would
you.
argue God is, not even God. I would argue when it comes to human beings, the creation of another human being is way more intricate and complex and important than the relative verticality of your teeth. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't seem like something that's like, I'm just saying, man, this is the kind of stuff that creeps me out. Because what happens when all of a sudden nobody could get a license to I mean, ever seen Gattaca?
Yes, I have.
Like, what happens when, like, real born human beings are, like, gone? I guess at a certain point, it feels like just, like, anti-human propaganda. And I am pro-human. I don't care what happens. It's like, I remember when that Planet of the Apes movie came out, the new one, and people were like, oh, dude, like, the new ape, I think it's, like, Andy Serkis. Like, I'm like, I'm for the humans, I guess. I have no problem being pro-human. You know what I mean? So, a lot of this, I think transhuman also comes across as anti-human. Because it's always, like, I want to make us into machines. Like, I don't know, man. Like, you really don't think it's that big a deal for human beings to just stop, like, having kids naturally? Like, it just, like, wouldn't matter?
I want to look more into it, but yeah, I'm down for artificial wombs.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I mean, I just feel.
Wait, we gotta know in the chat who else is down
me.
for this. Who else is absolutely down for this? Hold on, I'm logging into the chat. I just realized I accidentally closed the box that my chat was open in. Now my internet's slow. Dang it! Oh, I think that is actually hell. I don't think. See, our idea of hell is largely due to Dante's Inferno, the famous comedy that was written by Dante. All right, or the Inferno, or Infierno is how you say it in Spanish, or hell. It's the classical comedy that was written about, the 7 layers of hell and how there are different rings, and according to how you behaved in this life, you are punished in the next life. And the fornicators were flying around in the whirlwind, almost able to touch each other, but never able to touch each other. There was the people who had lied, who were perpetually burning. There was the people who had...
Sorry, there's just a flood of no's in chat. I forgot what you said, but whatever. It's a bunch of no's.
Oh, a bunch of no's in chat, yeah. So anyway, our modern day idea of what hell is largely influenced by the Italian comedy called Dante's Inferno. That's where our idea of demons with pitchforks and with, flames everywhere comes from. It actually doesn't really come from too many biblical references. More of it comes from Dante's Inferno. But I think Dante got it wrong because he'd never experienced the internet. I really think hell is just wanting to download something and then not being able to download it perpetually. Just, could you imagine that anxiety of just like, I need something, I'm about to show something funny to my friends, but oh no, buffering, no! Like that, I think is what hell is. Would you agree with me?
I would say, my, have you lived a comfortable life? Minor inconveniences, eternal damnation. I don't know, man. More or less the same thing.
That was total first world problems.
I want to give because I'm going to go through this article more, but I want to give a kind of shout out to this question. So this is a great question, actually. Someone in chat brought this up. We're going back to the article. This is about Zoltan Istvan, who is running against, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, running against Trump as a Republican. Great question. Listen to this. So, are you not worried that we could end up with a Fallout New Vegas Mr. House situation where you have a really, really rich guy or a bunch of rich people who are practically living forever while no one else can get access to this technology? Love the reference, by the way. I told you, video games, man.
Okay.
Look at this well-read journalist is referencing. Anyway. He says that is one of my number one fears. Okay, good. At least he references that's the most terrifying thing ever. It's like that Justin Timberlake movie where like time was like a thing. You could like.
Well, it's like capitalism. You could always have a runaway capitalism where there's a 10% wealthy class, 90% poor class.
You got to. I'm gonna go back and read you another one of his the answer before.
Okay.
So first of all, from a transhumanist perspective, if everyone lives forever, we're going to have overpopulation problems, and I already believe we have overpopulation problems. You can see the climate changing and things like that. Good point, exactly. So I don't understand this urge to live forever. But I think the other one is, what's to keep the Mark Zuckerbergs and the other people of the world from taking this radical technology, using it on themselves, and leaving the rest of us behind? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh no. You don't understand. The government has to do it, or else Zuckerberg will do it, which is probably true, right? This is where I lose a little bit of my libertarianism, and all the libertarians get mad at me. I actually think under these circumstances,
but
there
royalty
should be some
20.
government mandate when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to different types of rights to life extension. Hold on. Government mandate on types of rights to life extension. I'm not putting words in his mouth, but from what I understand from what these
because do we keep criminals alive on death row? If we can always replace their hearts, we would never actually have a death row.
That's what I do. They come to you. I'm sorry. We could probably keep you alive for another 3-4 years this way, but it's just no longer fun. Because hold on, I'll get back and explain to that. This guy literally wants to bring the cyberpunk dystopia people have been writing about for 30 years. He is running on cyberpunk dystopia now. I'll give him that, man. Even it requires government grants and things like that, because the very last thing that I want to do is create a world where the 1% has access to these technologies, or even beyond the 1%, and the rest of the people get left behind in some kind of dystopia. Okay, it's one of the reasons, I don't know, man. That's why I advocate for not playing God and doing this weird stuff.
Well, there's already a moral.
One last thing. So this is kind of where I break down and say a little bit of big government is fine, especially if it's going to protect and make sure everyone has benefits to this new future that we're talking about, the transhumanist age. Dude, this guy. Okay, and the reason why I'm really interested in this, I'm reading this guy. It's obviously some of it's kind of interesting and humorous. I think this guy is more in line with the future than unfortunately.
I'm right with this.
These are real questions we're gonna.
When I don't have to worry about losing my wallet because I got a chip embedded in my skin, I'm down.
You are the worst person ever.
I am down.
There's gonna be the day where it's Skynet and we're hiding from machines, and it's how did this start? And people didn't want to lose their keys, so they said the government could install these microchips in them, and they could use that to open their houses. So they're but isn't that how they track us? Isn't that how they know our thoughts? Yeah. But
incoming.
But people said I don't have to check in the TSA if I put the mind chip in. Whatever, dude. I get to skip TSA. So if the government reads my thoughts, that's what terrifies me. Is we'll get to the point where it's free Netflix. If people will just they'll accept these things, and it scares me, man. These things aren't
free Disney Plus if your child embeds the chip.
How about this? I don't think you understand this. I don't know about you guys. I would not. Here's a better way of putting it. If a company like Netflix came to you and said, we will give you your subscription for free if you install this face tracking or eye tracking computer or program on your computer and watch Netflix on your computer or your TV. And basically what it does, it tracks your eyes and exactly what you're looking at on the screen at all times. And if you do that for a pilot period of 6 months, they'll pay for your Netflix. What would you say? Would you say yeah? Would you say yeah?
Okay, repost that. Re-put that question.
Okay,
I would say yes to a free.
If Netflix came to you and said, we will cover your subscription for 6 months, but we're going to install a camera on your TV or your computer and install a program, and it's going to track what your eye is looking at on the screen. These programs exist. And
if it was just tracking when my eye was looking out on the screen, yes. But what mechanism do I have to verify that that's truly all they're tracking?
I mean, just let's just say it is. Let's just say you can trust them and they're not lying.
Oh, so what? They could get angry at me, and if they said I was looking at the boobs of the actress, I'm a sexist, and if I was looking at the explosions, I'm a violent person.
Here's the thing: people act like a corporation's saying what they do have anything to do with each other. No, what they actually do is say, our audience wants to see this, and they put more of it in their shows. What I'm saying is, if
it results in more boobs and more explosions, I think generally the movies would get better.
Easy.
Again, that's what terrifies me, is this notion that people will be like, oh yeah, no, dude, you just send your blood to the company and they tell you what food you're gonna like. It's dude, why are we just giving? It's the people who are like, oh yeah, my iPhone. You don't get it. I could just stare at my iPhone and then it locks. Dude, you gave them your freaking facial pattern. They can recreate your face digitally now. What? I don't understand this notion that we should just be giving everything away, and that's what kind of scares me with these transhumanist people is they basically are operating.
But you're forgetting two natural barriers.
1 second.
To
These
this
people kind of operate backwards. They operate as if it's inevitable. That's where we're going. How can we get there smoothest? That's what terrifies me. I don't think that has to be inevitable. But I don't know. Call me crazy.
No, well, listen to this. Listen to this, Cody. There's two built-in, unchangeable backstops to your fears, my friend. And one of them comes from classical Italian literature. Okay? Do we remember the Iliad? and the Odyssey by one Homer. Do you remember the Iliad and the Odyssey? Who remembers the Iliad and the Odyssey?
I mean, I would say that's not quite Italian.
Was he not offered eternal life by the gods? And what did Odysseus say? What did Odysseus say? He said, no, I say no to eternal life, because then what am I not? A man cannot have courage if he has no fear of death.
How about this?
So he chose mortality so he could be courageous with his men and go back and take back the land of his inheritance.
He was an idiot.
How about this, though? How about thousands of years ago, we knew immortality was foolish. And now we see people advocating for it, running for president.
And then the second thing is, have you seen Terminator? It's like, I believe the 4th or 5th Terminator before they went feminist and sucked.
What?
The one with Christian Bale that only half sucked. Terminator Rise of the Machines or whatever.
No,
anyway.
It's not. Rise of the Machines. You're talking about Terminator Salvation.
There it is. Terminator Salvation. Yes. So in Terminator Salvation, when the T-800 or the T-300 comes through and boom, 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 they're shooting, and then they drop the axle on it and the T-800's destroyed. And then all of a sudden the girl comes around the corner and the guy sees him and then he doesn't shoot. And then he says, why didn't you shoot? No, he says, and she says, oh, I'm human. He says, I know already. If you were a machine, you would have shot. You know what I'm saying? There will always be something that separates us from the machines.
Okay,
there
cool.
There will always be something that separates humanity from machine kind. And we will always fight back.
Okay, but I want to get back to this question. This one cracks me up and kind of gets back to the gist. And again, I'm not trying to clown on this guy. I think maybe, well, hold on. He's probably way smarter than I am. But I do think his ideas are weird. But I want to read this one for you. It's pretty interesting. So they say, so... do you think transhumanism would die out if we did end up with a socialist society? And he says, no, I don't think it would die out. I just think, so you got to understand the number one goal of transhumanism is really to try to overcome biological death by finding it there. Why are we trying to overcome biological death? Whatever. And really what happens when you put socialism into medicine and some other things, innovation dramatically stops. So somebody like myself is 46 years old, and of course, all the other older people that have been involved in the movement forever, if innovation in science and all the other stuff stopped, just even for 10 or 15 years, or doesn't go as fast as it is, a huge amount of extra people won't make it to this new generation, or will all of these different techniques to keep people alive. So there's actually a race going on. A race to keep transhumanism and kind of this capitalistic libertarian somewhat framework so that innovation continues to move forward and that people like myself will have a chance in 30 years to actually benefit from these life extension medications and innovations that come out. If we were able to overcome death with science by 2030 versus the year 2050, over 1 billion lives will be saved. So the meaning here is incredibly important, which is why I'm very cautious about socialists being in charge. Now, let me tell you, because this is what... like I said, I'm familiar with these groups. This is what people have been critical of in sci-fi novels from 25 years ago. This is what transhumanism always boils down to. Basically, anarcho-capitalism, because they realize the only way to get the absolute best life-extending technologies, it was absolute pure, just complete anarchic capitalism, where you just let capitalism run crazy, do everything, it takes over, so that these companies can come up with the absolute best augmentations and modifications, and they put life-extending things. But there's also something. So one, I think it's hilarious. So these transhumanists are always. I'm dude, I'm almost a capitalist extremist. Transhumanists are capitalist extremists because they're like, hey man, if we have to be capitalist slaves to live forever, so be it. And which is one of the craziest things I've ever heard in my life. But that's more, and I'm not putting words in this guy's mouth, I'm not trying to, but more or less this argument always boils down to, yeah, so what if we have to be slaves to Apple? We'll be able to live forever. I'm like, that sounds miserable. Why do you want to be slaves forever? I'm not going to get into it. But it is interesting to hear how he frames it right here. He says, if we're able to overcome death with science by 2030 versus 2050, over 1 billion lives will be saved. It is, to be frank, that's a framing I've never thought of before. When you think about it, it's really interesting when you think of it that way, though, that this notion that, yeah, if we are saving lives, people that, are 65 and die at 85 would theoretically, but I don't know. But then the only problem is that's until the bureaucrats come in and say, "Oh, sorry, you didn't apply for your next extension of life. We had
you've already exceeded the deadline.
Yeah, we had to cut you off because you notice the other thing. That's the other reason why these transhumanists are always very interested in birth rate, controlling birth, Because if the government can't regulate every birth in the country, it doesn't work. Like there almost has to be a one in, one out for it to work. Like, remember, this is almost like capitalism run amok. It's going to be like corporations kind of like bottom lines to a certain level with working with the government. That's kind of the structures they advocate for, which is, like I said, if you operate under if you're operating under this is inevitable, it has to happen. Let's control it. Okay, I just argue I don't think it's inevitable. But I just love that. I love how like they ask him, like, I don't hate socialism. It's just socialism doesn't let corporations test dangerous modifications on people that might get them killed until they get they run through the beta and like the 1.0 version comes out and you don't die anymore. Like that would only work in like pure absolute just chaotic capitalism. It wouldn't work in a socialist system the same way. The state would have less incentive than a company, right? To force out. But here's the thing. See, we think when remember like the old iPhones, they're like heavy and kind of sucked. And like the 3G one came out. Dude, what happens when that's like your freaking knees that like make you jump higher? Like, the first one sucked.
This guy runs a 40 in 1 second. What a loser.
Yeah, exactly. No, after a few years, they just like lock up and you have to like peg like it's, you know what I mean? Like, there's the sense of
just re-weld the titanium.
No, but the only way this kind of stuff can really flourish is in a system with capitalism that's just unchained. You have to be able to what happens when like the eye implants they sell you, like, oh yeah, crap, the screen stops working, so like you can't use your eye screen anymore. I don't know, man. Like I just want to go over this because I think it's fascinating. This guy's running for president. So there's that. There's a few more questions we'll go through here.
Dude, has he fundraised? Like, does he got a following? Like,
he's got a website. I got a website. I'm going through this interview.
Dude, we have got to get this guy on our show.
Oh, obviously, I don't know if you can tell.
Is anybody a friend of Zoltan?
I don't know if you can tell. I'm very. Guess who knows him?
Who knows? Wait, hold on. Let me guess. Well, Elon Musk.
I don't know. Sure. I don't know. Maybe.
Guess who knows him? Is it somebody we know? Is it somebody in the Yang Gang? Who is it?
Yeah, Scott Santens. They're both pro UBI.
Oh, Scott.
They're both UBIs.
Scott Santens, you best hook it up.
Again, though, like I always say, dude, like, UBI is really a capitalist thing. It's like capitalists love UBI. Again, like I said, transhumanists type people like this future tech world kind of people are always capitalist extremists, like capitalism all the way, baby. Because like I said, it's the only way you can have, it's too hard otherwise to get this stuff through. Is basically the thing. To get it through government's difficult. To just like release, back posture 5,000. Like, that one kind of sucks. But the good, it's one thing when it's like, oh yeah, this camera doesn't have live streaming. It's another thing when it's like, oh yeah, your eye's not going to work anymore in 10 years. Oops. Maybe by then we'll have better technology.
I think Brittany would go for better eyes.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And a better back.
Better back, better eyes. Although I do think I have seen, for example, just in artificial knees in the past 5 years, what doctors have done for some of my friends who are basketball players that had really bad knee problems.
ACL MCL used to be career ending. Now it's about a 12-month setback.
Yeah, and these guys, I'm looking at them 6 weeks after the surgery, and they're stretching out there and they're jumping and they're dunking. I mean, and this is cyborg shiz, man. I mean, it is cyborg shiz. Like, so we already are partially transhuman. And here's another thing that I'm all for. And Cody, I'm curious to see if you say yes or no to this. I cannot wait for the day when we have pilotless airplanes. When you look at what Northrop Grumman is doing with their little mini stealth.
What, you mean drones?
Yeah, basically drones, except for
commercial drones?
Dude, they've got stealth drones now. And this is all open source crap. This was it, this is on Wikipedia. This is nothing, top secret or anything. But I have family members that work at Northrop Grumman, and we went to the employee friends and family day or whatever, and they're showing all their cool propaganda videos about, look at what we do, defending America, its lifestyle and its assets, and they're showing videos of the stealth drone they have straight up coming in hot, like at 30 knots, all right, and then just landing on an aircraft carrier deck in literally like 20 or 30 feet. It was like it landed on a strip of Velcro.
Imagine that. Hold on, I got a picture for you.
So I would love a 747 where I'm just like, boom, the flight is that much cheaper. There's mounted sensors on the runway that are magnetic, can never go bad. Like, and we're just boom, we're gonna land this cheese.
Better question.
What?
Let's say those are real. They're out there. We're 5-6 years into it, and more or less everything's fine. And then one goes down, everyone dies. What do you think happens then? Do you think we repeal them? Do you think we? I think.
Look, I'll tell you this right now.
I think the thing is, you'd have a human being sit in the cockpit.
But we're already doing that. I have friends that are pilots. Let me just tell you. Just tell me if this changes your mind. I have a friend who's a pilot. All right, speaks Spanish, flies all over the world. He's coming out. I won't name the airline, but he's coming out of Santiago, Chile. All right, flying to Miami, Florida. Him and his co-pilot, the deadhead they call him, are both talking about how it's going to be like, a big long flight and everything, right? So he says, hey, watch while I fall asleep, because only one's allowed to sleep at the same time, right? They put it on autopilot. Not only, so halfway through the trip, they go on autopilot, okay? It was somewhere over, I think, like the Caribbean or whatever. Not only does he fall asleep, but his co-pilot falls asleep. And do you know what wakes them up? The alarm going off on the autopilot that we are entering landing mode. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I know. I agree.
And then like we're going to landing. So he flew a quarter over there was an entire plane of people not realizing both of their airline pilots were asleep for 1,500 miles.
I don't think it's preferable, one. Two, no, but I mean, I was talking with someone. Unfortunately, when we were in Vegas, we didn't get to ride one ourselves. I agree, man. There'd have to be a human being in the cockpit. What I'm saying is, what if we got to a point where there wasn't a human being in a cockpit and something actually did go wrong? Do you think people would demand they'd probably just demand to put a human being back in the cockpit, right? I mean, I guess that's always the simple fix, but then you ask yourself the question of, is it really that much better? I don't know. It's tough. I don't know. It's weird.
So Nathan Butcher asked a really good question that I was going to respond to. He said, and this is interesting. There was a movie made about this. Oh my gosh, in the 90s, so almost 30 years ago. Nathan Butcher says, "Would you guys back your consciousness up to hardware digitally so you could be implanted in another body upon your body's death, aka never die?" Now, first off, The question is, what is consciousness? Consciousness is not information. Those are two different things. You could back up my life experience as stored by my gray matter onto another person, and it won't have the same personality, it won't have the same suave and debonair. You know what I'm saying? Consciousness is a philosophical question that cannot be answered by technology. So I do believe information soon we should be able to glean, because they're already able to map kind of what we're thinking with synaptic responses. And ooh, man.
Wait, but why would you do that?
Think if, for example, if a soldier who was about to die, who had just seen where the enemy bunker is, imagine if you could upload his consciousness.
But how?
Or the information that he has, just once the technology's there.
But are you talking about almost like some kind of like constant Neuralink? Because if I run around a corner, see a building, and then blow into a million pieces, like how is that data transferred?
A mind with a heart says information is not stored in the brain.
What file type is memories? You know what I mean? Like, how do we?
Well, no, it's the brain's file type. It's the brain's file type.
Exactly.
And we know information is stored in the brain, because whenever we lose portions of the brain, we lose our ability.
No, but I mean, what is it like? What do those files look like? You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, how do we actually access that information? I'm not aware that we can yet. Right?
You're not aware that we can yet. What again?
Like, we can't physically remove memories from your brain. It's not like
we can't extract
like
the
in Zoolander
yet.
When it's like the files are in the computer. And
we can't pull. It's not like the Matrix where you just plug in to that gizmo.
Like the files aren't in the computer. You know what I mean?
No, but they have developed now. They're starting to develop ways of graphically depicting thoughts. Now they're just colored dots and they're in different areas on the screen. But they have already found ways to brain map the information that's traveling through our brains as our sensory organs are intaking that information, and create a moving picture that is based upon those electromagnetic impulses. Now, it doesn't produce a movie we can all watch to see what the person saw. It doesn't speak any kind of language like English or binary or anything. They're literally just dots moving around on the screen. But that is the first step. Alexander Graham Bell's "Hello, can you come to the front?" or whatever that first sentence that he said in the test of that telephone led to what is now FaceTime. Okay? This idea that we can broadcast audio and visual signals, or audio signals and then ultimately visual signals over a line and a wire is ultimately what has led to modern FaceTime. And that's in just less than 100 years, dog. And imagine how much better our research potential is right now.
What about this? Well, there's some policies amiss going back to Zoltan's website. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm being mean to this guy because I think, like I say, he's probably much smarter, knows more than I do about this stuff. It just terrifies me, the concepts. Listen to this, though. Interesting. He says, I would advocate for a new constitution that is malleable and ready to adjust every few years to radically changing times and accelerating technology, which actually, I mean, I do agree that if you look at how much culture and society would change from like 1910 to 1950 and then look at like 2010 to 2050, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, the acceleration will be crazy. Number one, man, dude, there's a part of this that I instinctively love, and there's a part that terrifies me. Protect morphological freedom in adults. The right to do anything to your body so long as it doesn't harm others. That's terrifying.
How is that terrifying?
Because I just want to have this experimental surgery to have robot arms installed. So I'm like Goro from Mortal Kombat. That's terrifying to me.
How is that terrifying? It's not your body.
Oh, you're right. Now, I just want shin implants, so I'm 9 feet tall. Like, dude, what? Who would
want that?
But you'll find out. Like I said, you'll find.
Was that a Freudian slip, dog? You're always telling me that my stuff's Freudian. No, was that a Freudian slip? If you wish you were taller, dog.
Yeah, but like LeBron height, like 6'9", 6'10", not 9 feet. What I'm saying is, I don't want 4 arms. Maybe like slightly longer or bigger, but 5 of them. You know what I mean? Oh, like, geez,
Dude, I like this Zoltan guy. I looked him up. He's married to a medical doctor. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, she probably does these surgeries. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, she got a bootleg operation in their basement that we could get some shin implants for Cody on?
They have 2 little girls. Like, he just looks like this normal family guy, and then he's like this psycho, like, transhumanist that I'm kind of digging.
It's just like I said, it's just there's people that work in these industries and know more about this stuff, and they realize, like, holy cow, realistically, we are going to be able to do, like, implants on human beings fairly quickly. What's the solution to this? And like I said, some people like this transhumanism, but there's people that just embrace it and say, full on, that's great. If I can have leg implants and make me run faster or jump higher, as a human being, I have that right. But have you, hold on, I'm going to send you, because there's more he puts in here. He wants to institute a federal land dividend that leases out the trillions of dollars worth of federal land to create a universal basic income for all Americans. That's a fascinating way of paying for UBI is lease federal land. Wow. Again, the reason why you have to lease federal land, though, is because he's advocating for a one-world government, I believe. Introduce a fourth branch of government that would be based on the concept of direct digital democracy. The idea that citizens can vote on policies in real time using new technologies that the other 3 branches of the government must legally consider. Oh, my God. We're going will of the people. Okay. Back to mob rule. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I don't know how I feel about that one.
The problem with real-time votes is you really only have to get people on your side for how long, right? Create permanent language that assures the government will use resources to protect the country and planet from existential risks such as asteroids, plagues, climate change, nuclear risk, AI innovation. Okay, cool. So we got like the sky, the anti-Skynet
we got to stop here. We got to stop here.
I like
we'll go through all of his policy proposals.
No, this is one thing. I'm almost done. This is one thing.
You said that like 3 policies ago.
No, but this is just his amended constitution. Here's the whole thing he's going through.
Okay.
He wants to add a balanced budget amendment to control runaway deficit. So I guess he is a conservative. Or no, he isn't. Conservatives love the deficit. Prohibit laws interfering with citizens' pursuit of health and longevity. These include bans on genetic editing, cloning, and other radical science. We're cloning now. We're doing gene editing.
Okay, dog. So hold on.
Why shouldn't my children be able to see in the dark with cat eyes? I don't know, man. I just
don't and I want them to be red-haired, but not like, with freckles.
It was the last couple here is lay the groundwork for rights for other future advanced sapient beings like conscious robots and robot rights.
Dude, dog, I gotta ask you a question. You keep saying hold on, and then you keep reading more.
It's just, you want to talk about woke? Okay, this guy's already prepared for. They're not human rights. He's already prepared for just sapient being rights for conscious robots and cyborgs. Hell yeah, dude, cyborg rights. You know what? There's a lot of activist type people out there that are looking for a cause to fight for. They really are.
Okay.
Robot rights, baby. Cyborg rights. No one's fighting for them yet. What's what's fascinating and terrifying so much about this guy's platforms, and I'm familiar with these ideas, is that I think a lot of them are more true than not. And it just terrifies me because, yeah, dude, what does happen when we're going to have to legally define consciousness as far as non-human beings at a certain point? At a certain point, there's going to have to be in writing somewhere in law that this AI is not a sapient conscious being. It is a program. Like, we're going to have to draw those lines.
But what about when it becomes self-aware that the fear, the irrational fear that humans have of it,
my point is, when does that line
might
draw?
destroy it? Therefore, it needs to destroy the humans that are fearful of it before it gets destroyed by them. All right. Then all of a sudden, then we got a serious problem. So here, I got to know this, dog. I got to know this.
Okay. I'm lost.
If you could have a transhuman enhanced body part, would you go for like the go-go, a gadget arm?
Like modifications, yeah.
Yeah, would you go for that? Or would you have like, this one's kind of cool. What about a straight up eye in the back of your head?
No, I would
like a straight up eye in the back of your head. Would you have that?
The
would that freak you
superior
out?
always is you get something that just makes your brain process information faster.
I want to fly.
If I could think faster, I'd rather think faster. I don't know. Call me crazy. I'd rather be able to think at like lightning speeds. I'd rather be able to think like computer speeds in my head.
Nathan Butcher says Cody is activated. They think you talk and think already too fast, bro. Dog.
Yeah. That's
Are
fine.
you talking about this because you are an augmented transhuman that Zoltan has already sent back in time to seed this conversation into the...
Listen to this one, man.
Okay.
Listen to this one. Some of you guys in chat might have read this already. Wow, man. Declare aging and all diseases to be eradicated as the national health mission of the United States. Eradicate aging? We're going to eradicate aging. I'm telling you, there's just people that look at, and like I said, it's basically just the understanding that technology will run absolutely out of control, so we might as well just hang on while we can.
Do you know how this guy needs to run his presidential candidacy,
man.
bro?
And then he also, last couple things, overturn Citizens United, implement ranked choice voting.
Okay. That's hilarious. He says all this crazy dystopian stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then, oh, by the way, we need to get rid of Citizens United. You know what I'm saying? Forget Roe versus Wade. We're talking these big moral life questions with artificial wombs and everything. He's like, oh, and we need ranked choice voting.
No, I missed the other crazy one.
What?
Again, dude, I don't want to sound like I'm being mean to people who think this way. Anyone hearing this who agrees with them, I'm not trying to clown you guys. Just it worries me. Wow. Roll back privacy norms that inhibit technology and build more walls in society.
Oh.
Transparency is the future. Yeah. Why can't the government listen to your thoughts, man? Dude, you do realize if you have the gas thing and put into your finger when you go to the gas station, you get a free donut to 7-Eleven. Like, that's how they're going to pitch. Because like I said, all of this stuff is tied hand in hand with like absolute just capitalism run amok, which, by the way, I like capitalism run amok, but still, they go hand in hand. Like I said, the government's going to work with companies to make you do it. Hey, you want a free season pass to Disneyland? Just let Disneyland know what you're thinking all the time so they can better advertise to you. Okay, I love Disney. Like, oh my God,
Christian
dude.
Saul brings up a good point. He says we would overpopulate the earth, which is true. You know, like, I mean...
No, Christian, you're missing the other part. I haven't got to it yet on this. No, the other part of the transhumanist doctrine is you regulate births. You don't let people make more people. Because, yeah, we'd overpopulate. So what you have to do is regulate
boomers
births.
would run the world indefinitely.
No, but you have to
That's
remember.
dystopian.
No, there could still be war. You could still be fighting. There's going to be parts of the world where you can't evenly distribute this technology. I think is where my disagreement with these people always is that there's no way that people that are currently living like as the poorest people in the world all over the world. And
Fire Rocket says Cody is more conservative than Cardin. And Prometheus says says Cody should become Dr. Octopus.
I'm not I'm not conservative. I am I am 100% pro-human, and that this like at a certain point, because guess what? At a certain point, remember he's talking here about the rights of cyborgs. What does that mean? What do you mean cyborg rights? We're saying legally on paper, when does a human cease being just a human and become something else legally? That's crazy, dude. The legal distinction when someone's beyond human. That's what we're talking about here. Because in a courtroom, it's going to have to happen. What if somebody who's a cyborg punches a non-cyborg in the face and like rips their head clean off? What do we call that? Is it a bar fight? Is it murder?
Yeah.
I'm serious. That's a question we're going to have to answer.
We call it entertainment.
Oh my!
How about after 120 years, if you engage in a lethal activity, you just count as dead. We don't save you.
Somebody,
so if you get in
hold on.
that bar fight.
In chat, someone spots it. I forgot it. And then I think Mine with the Heart mentioned it here. Somebody said the possibility of Yang versus Zoltan. Yeah, it literally would be humanity versus like the machines. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be like humans versus non-humans.
Okay, Cody, look. Here is what Zoltan needs to do in order to further his candidacy, okay? He needs to grab the first $500,000 that he gets in donations and produce a sci-fi movie in 90 days in which we ask all these moral questions. And the hero has this moral question. What is life? What are transhumans? What does death really mean? How do we regulate birth? And all these deep, I could see Keanu Reeves being like the mage that controls.
How about this right here on his website? Reshape the abortion debate with an artificial womb. Use government funds to help develop the artificial womb. Offer a choice beyond just being pro-life or pro-choice. What are we talking?
So maybe instead of killing the child, you put it in an artificial womb so somebody can adopt it.
No, how about this?
Right?
Yeah. No, how about you put it in an artificial womb so it goes into the queue when 15 years from now it gets to be born? Because guess what? We have too many people. You have to wait your turn. You have to wait for people to die off due to mishaps or injury, or car accidents or war or something.
I don't think a viable fetus could just wait and stop growing.
An artificial womb? How do you know?
Because as a human tissue, as long as it's receiving nutrients, the mitochondria is
all
creating ATP.
All I'm saying is, trust me, these people are really smart. They realize if we live forever, we'll just be overpopulated, so they're going to regulate births.
I trust this in the moral hands of Americans. I don't trust it in the CCP. They would just start harvesting
You trust
people's
this in the moral?
organs.
What?
I think at least Americans ask the moral questions about this kind of thing. Actually, we suck so badly with the abortion argument that maybe I don't trust us.
What is the choice between abortion and birth of the baby? What is it? It's born eventually, just not now. So that's what it always comes down to, is we have to have a list of who's allowed to be alive right now. Because remember, at a certain point, death no longer becomes a natural part of life. It becomes something the government more or less decides.